Finally, Monterey Bay FC, no union, none of that going on here. Where besides the union, who do we gain? Who do we lose, John?
Traeger out. Christian Valesky gone as well. Looking at the list, Walmer Martinez gone to AV Alta. Kai Green is over in Oakland. Anthony Siaha is at his second stop of the winter now by joining Hartford. Carlos Herrera moved to Detroit, and so did Maury Donor. The additions are kind of wild. Lots of names that you will not know. In terms of familiar faces, Miles Lyons, going to be good. Maele Malonga coming in from Chattanooga, and then former League One Young Player of the Year, Ethan Bryant. Pick your poison in terms of the rest of the group. Lots of upside with Nico Gordon, who's going to captain the team from Central Defense. Hearing good things about Elijah Paul and Adam Larson up top. It's a kind of a mystery box overall. Like, this team is looking at signing, I think, a dozen or 13 new players. A lot of them don't have a ton of USL experience. If Jordan Stewart can get them going, could be interesting. But yeah, lots of fresh faces here.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about with Monterey Bay. And there was some kind of discussion with us that kind of got into our mentions of just like, pay attention to what this team is doing, because in the end, there is a lot of names that we don't know, right? And as much as we would love to be scouting every single league around the world and be experts on all these teams, usually we don't really know until we see it, right? But Ryan, this is a team that was outspent by at least one, possibly two League One teams last year.
I think that's a conservative estimate, but yeah.
It certainly is. Is this team, we've mentioned Moneyball a lot. We kind of do the whole thing. Is there a Moneyball approach here? Is there a Tampa Bay Rays approach here of they see something in these guys for cheaper than everybody else and get more wins than everybody else?
Yeah, I feel like that's the optimistic way to kind of approach this team. But from like our personal rankings, from the fan rankings, just having so much of the mystery box that we have right now is just like they can only go based off of what we most recently saw from this team when you have so many question marks over some of these players. And that was the Monterey Bay team that finished the final 15 games of last season with one win. They were shut out 8 times, and including 6 consecutive games, a Lord of the Rings runtime without scoring a goal in that time. And that's what we have to go off of. But one of the things is that you can just kind of wipe the slate clean from last year. And like you said, Kaylor, like try and find that kind of Moneyball approach to who we've brought in all these guys. It's a mystery box. Let's just kind of see what happens. You open the year with San Antonio, Oakland, and Orange County. Those are 2 teams you're going to be in direct competition with for the playoff bubble, and hosting Oakland for that first home opener it should be favorable, knowing what Oakland has now lost to this point. So it's really kind of tough to make a judgment, and I think the rankings the fans and us have given to them is probably I don't want to say fair, but it's the only place we can put them for now.
Phil, well, kind of remind me, was it last year or 2 years ago that they just, anytime they put the ball on target, they just scored, but they like never put it on target? Which year was that?
That was the very beginning of last season, right? Where they just like every single thing, like their conversion rate was just like off the charts. It basically, I mean, it put them in a spot where they started the season like insane, and it was like
6 unbeaten in their first 7.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it will probably take something statistically similar to that, like some sort of anomaly for another start like that. I will say, like, the Adam Larson positivity, I think, like, of attackers who have come from like leagues abroad and especially in Europe, he probably does have one of the best goal returns, like, of a striker that we've seen like come from Europe into the league, even if it was in the whatever Finnish second division or whatever, or Swedish second division, I think. No, finish. No, okay, finish first division.
You got
okay,
it. Finish first. Yeah,
finish first division. His one season in the Finnish second division was insane. He had like 12 goals in 13 games or something like that.
Yeah.
So I would say like maybe the positivity, there is something there because he has a decent goal return. When we're used to seeing players join from Europe who it's like they've not played in several years. So I just think like that being said, it feels very pieced together. Like there's only so many holdovers from last year. And it just feels like too patchwork for me to have any confidence that they're going to be off the bottom. But yeah, I mean, who knows? They could score their first like 20 shots on target like they did last year.
John, one of the names on here is Nico Gordon, who, as was mentioned in the chat, was kind of captaining the team. He's still eligible for Young Player of the Year. And I think he is going to be a serious contender for it. I think he has all the talent in the world. He was a bright young spot for a Birmingham City team before he eventually gets a loan out to Austin and then a move to Austin. And now with Monterey Bay, I think he has the chance to be really, really good in this league. For the rest of the team, you look at guys like Larson who seem like they're going to have good return. You see guys like Dixon who have done it, and they did it recently for Monterey Bay. And then there's a lot of question marks. Obviously, this is a lot of players coming from abroad, so we don't really know them. But what's your best case scenario for this team?
Well, I mean, even looking at this team today versus Oakland post Rodriguez move, I don't know if I've got Monterey in the basement anymore, frankly. I think for this team to succeed and potentially get the 8 seed, which, let's be realistic, probably feels like their ceiling, I think Gordon is going to have to step up and instantly kind of do the Pupmar boy, come into the league as a young player and be at an all-league level. I think Carlos Guzman needs to stay healthy. He's somebody who, frankly, was kind of in my mental all-league conversation last year. I thought he was fantastic, splitting time between left back and center back. If those two keep it up, and if they get good goalkeeping from either Sam Gomez or Nico Campuzano, which is far from a guarantee, but they need all of that to come good. Honestly, the front line is exciting. You look at Malongo coming in from the left and Dixon from the right. Those are two players that have constantly scored goals in the USL doing that exact thing. Can Larson be the guy, or is it Elijah Paul, or is it a Luther Archmed finally getting healthy? I don't know, but they've got 3 players who could realistically be the striker. The midfield feels to me like the area that I just have a hard time selling it. It's a lot of players that could be a piece in a good team. And then when you're putting any 3 of them as a unit, it looks like it's a League One midfield in terms of the quality. That's not to say that someone like Moby Fair isn't a very good USL player overall, or Bryant has solid distribution skills, or Xavi Nalati isn't going to go on to be a great piece. Right now in 2025, I have a hard time buying in. But yeah, I mean, Monterey, as negative as I've been, I'm seeing the vision in a way that these other clubs that we're talking about as not being playoff teams don't feel like they had that same level of intentionality.
Ryan, you had some final thoughts for Monterey Bay.
Yeah, I guess one match to kind of schedule or circle on the schedule is actually on Star Wars Day, May 4th. We actually have Monterey Bay hosting the Miami FC, and I'll do the bold take that one of those clubs in that match will not be at the bottom of their respective conference entering that game. And then the other one is just more of a shout out for kit season, but I do like the new kits that they've at least released for this upcoming season. And I know it's been traditional that the darker blue has been the home kit, but I always thought the lighter, kind of more that sea foam and color that's the same color of the logo should be the actual home kit. But yeah, I like both.
What is it? What's their thing? It's like something in kelp.
Crisp and kelp, man. Crisp and kelp.
I love everything about that. It's all it's so goofy. Any other thoughts about Monterey Bay?
Remember when they started posting my playoff odds with a sponsorship from a local pizzeria at the end of last season? That ruled.
That's
Oh my-
amazing.
Just
I-
lower and lower every week. You love to see it.